Hey yo guys, it's me Jason. This is my new deck profile. I'm not gonna go too in depth on this because I can't really go too in depth. This deck is really long and it's gonna be hard to explain every card. The older cards, I'm just gonna leave it up to you to look up or whatever. If you have any comments on my deck, please tell me because this deck is very hard to like decide on cards. Very utility based deck. This is my control version of Freezing Chains of Ice Barriers. Okay, so here we go. 3 Hexa Spirit. You want to get him on the field. You want to activate his effect. You want to, um, how should we say? He's a tuner, so you want to get his level to where you want. He's real easy to summon, as we'll see, because of the ice barrier name Hexa. He's very cute too. Very good tuner, being able to utility. He could be 1, 2, or 3 stars basically, and get stuff in your graveyard, which is necessary. Next card, Revealer of the Ice Barrier. Very good card. Not only does it help you search your tuners, but it your opponent cannot tribute summon while he's face up on the field. So once you do get your synchros out, you can stall out the game with her on the field. So very good card. Helps you get a tuner too. So the next one, 3 General Wayne of the Ice Barrier. He will help you. He's a 5 star that could be special summoned from your hand. Very good for synchro summoning. Also, he could search. So and spell or trap cards set from the field to the graveyard are banished instead. So again, he's good to just stall out the game. Once you do get your synchros, you can special summon for the grave again and stall it. Stall. 3 Spirit of the Ice Barriers help you get your ice barriers in the grave, help you get more draw. Self-explanatory. Um, 3 Cryomancers for the memes, basically, and because he's a 2-star tuner. We need all the tuners we can get. 2 Zooijin, tribute him. You could special summon level 5 or higher ice barrier. This graveyard wasn't except the turn it was sent there. You could target one level 3 or higher monster you control, reduce its level by 2, special summon it. So it's good for synchro summoning, and it's good for special summoning higher monsters, but you can't do both in the same turn, which is kind of limiting, and you don't want to draw 3 of him. So 2. Another 2 of is Prior of the Ice Barrier. Prior is terrible. You just want to normal summon him. You don't even want to special summon him, and then you could special summon from your grave. Only run 2 because again he's just a basically free special summon from the grave. 2 General Grunard. He's for the levels for synchro summoning, and during your main phase, you could normal summon 1 additional ice barrier monster. So that's pretty good, but he's a little high level, so you don't want to have too much. 2 Fishborg launchers. That's pretty much self-explanatory. Your deck's all water, so your extra deck's all water, so free summons for days. 1 Dance Princess of the Ice Barrier. She's terrible, running for the memes, and that's about it. You want to get her on the field at the end to stall out your game. I mean, no, she's a giant Trunade. But yeah, it's basically the same thing. You want to get her on the field so you could attack directly with your synchros and win. But you don't want 3 of her because she'll bog down your hand, something fierce. 1 Medium of the Ice Barrier, same general thing. You want to get her on the field so your opponent can't play, and after you get your synchros, she's really too much stars for the attack, and her special summon effect is very situational. But your opponent only activating 1 spell or trap per turn could be very good if you have field presence already. Speaker for the Ice Barrier. This card is pretty bad. I'd say I just run 1 of her because if you control an Ice Barrier monster, you could special summon this card from your hand, which is nice. But you don't get the token until like next turn, which is kind of ick. It's one of for sure. Good stars, good way to special summon 4 stars, but again, not that great. One Dai Sojo. This is for the memes, and because if you got synchros on the field, you could just summon him and make it so they're protected. Again, stalling out the game. What's this? General Gontala. He is pretty bad, I'd say, but you run him for the memes, and because he's an ice barrier, and actually his stars can use to summon bigger things synchro wise. One General Raiho of the Ice Barrier. When your opponent monster effect activate on the field, is they must discard a card or it's negated. Very funny to stall out the game with. Get him and Daijo on the field with your synchros, and they're gonna have a hard time, pretty hard time. Molingo Glacia, the Elemental Lord. It's a very good effect. You want to get it late game, so one of, and its effect is very synergistic with this deck, sending it back, and all of your monsters are water, so he's pretty easy to summon late game. Yeah, could help you, definitely help you come back. 3 Medallion of the Ice Barriers. This is a free search, so why would you not run 3? Basically, it's 3 of whatever ice barriers you want for free. Nice. 2 Freezing Chain of the Ice Barrier. This is again getting stuff back from the grave, and you're if you have 3 or more, you're unaffected by the activated effect from your opponent's a special summon from the extra deck. Not as good as the other card that just they're unaffected, but similar. The fact that you could special summon from the grave is good enough to run 2, just like 2 Magical Triangle with Ice Barriers. Terrible card because Ice Barriers were just so bad when it came out, but now in this deck, very good because you'll have 3 in your hand, and you'll be able to just pop a card to your opponents and special summon it. I only run 2 of it though because it can bog. You don't want to draw 3 and a bunch of other spells. It's like, ooh, I'm only gonna have 2 Ice Barriers in my hand at the end of this turn. So yeah, 2 of you want to draw into it. 2 Where Art Thous. It's good to get Hexa, which Hexa can go into almost everything else, and it gets something in your grave too, which there's a lot of special summon from your grave in this deck, so very good, very good. 1 Wins over the Ice Barrier. This is good situationally, like say your opponent, you have a board set up and your opponent negates all of your monster effects and makes their attack go down low or something, and now your board is useless and is just bogging you down. You can destroy your board and special summon level 4 or lower ice barriers to resynchro summon with again. So very cool utility. You can also banish this card from your graveyard, then target one of your ice barrier monsters that is banished or in your graveyard, add it to your hand. So it's also recycle. So you want to run at least 1 of, not maybe 2, depending on which. Yeah, I don't know. 1 Mirror the Ice Barrier. Basically, I only want 1 because there's very little chance that your opponent is going to banish from your hand, field, or graveyard. But if they do, you have a counter, which is nice. You could banish 2 of their cards from anywhere. It's just funny. Salvage, pretty much recyclability, and the same thing with surface recyclability, and you'll be able to use these because the water synergy. Now we on traps. 3 Heavy Storm Dusters. These are arguably better than Twin Twisters because I'm the kind of player that waits until their turn when they set the spells and traps to just go ahead and destroy them, because then they can't chain them. That's what I like better. You don't want to be activating this during your turn because it makes it so you can't enter the battle phase or something. Yeah, you can't conduct your battle phase. So you want to be activating this during your opponent's turn. As soon as they set their cards, be like, no, pop those. And yeah, way better than Twin Twisters because you have to discard a card for Twin Twisters. And I'm only using the structure deck cards here. 3 Terror of the Trishlas. Now, I actually had to contemplate on this. I was only going to put 1 of them in the deck because it's not really... The first effect is a win harder card because it depends on how many ice barrier synchros you have on your field. So the chance you have 3 It's going to be very little. Probably going to be banishing one card your opponent controls with this effect as soon as you get a synchro. But why I run 3 of it is the last effect. When your opponent activates a card or effect that targets an Ice Barrier synchro you control, you can banish this card from your graveyard to negate that effect. So yeah, that's why you run 3. It's negation. You want to get it, heck, even if you get that card to your graveyard and can't use this effect, that's what you want to do. And for the final 3 cards of this deck, we got Icebond to stall out the game, Mind Drain to stall out the game, but you don't really want to activate it too soon because you have stuff that activates in your hands, so it's just a limited amount. So once you get your board set up, bam, Mind Drain, and they can't do anything. Same thing with Iceband, bam, their monsters are all going to defense mode. And Crackdown, I almost ran 3 Crackdown because it's so broken, but I feel like there's only a situational amount of times you want to take your opponent's monsters. Like, they're not going to have the stars available for you to synchro summon, like it's going to be some weird crap. So it's a very situational card. Very good, though, for synchro summoning or link summoning or any kind of, like, you need a card to summon with. Because it can't be tributed. No, it cannot attack or activate its effect. So you can tribute it. Very good card. I don't think it's good for this deck, but hey, if you need a Crackdown, you can buy the structure deck. Okay, but moving on to the extra deck. I don't really have a side deck because this is such a utility-based deck that I feel like there's no reason for the side deck. You have options for everything. So let's just go with the extra deck. 1 Trishula, 1 Dewlorn, because they're limited to 1. Dewlorn, it doesn't really make sense to me because he's so situational. 1 non-water type monster. I mean, this can only be used for water type decks. I don't know per se if there's a water synchro that needs like another water synchro. That 6-star is very choice and very easy to summon. So I could say why Dewlorn is at 1 because his effect isn't very good. You have to commit so much to an attack that has no backup. Trishula makes more sense because she's a 9-star generic monster. She's not water, just 2 non tuners, which a lot of decks could do. Another thing I could understand why she's at 1 is because it's just so nice being able to banish from 1 from each place that oh, by the way, I only have a limited amount of white sleeves. That's why I didn't put them all in white sleeves. Sorry. But yeah, I got 2 of those, 1 of each, because you can't run more as of now until they take them off the ban list. But there's a reason why it's not too bad that you only really need 1 Trishula because of the new Trishula. The new Trishula is 11 stars, 27 2000. When this card, you can banish up to 3 cards your opponent controls. That there's no restriction of 1 hand, field, or graveyard, even though like 1 of each is not necessarily. That's arguably better, but this just lets you get to banish 3 cards, which is cool. If this card is synchro summoned to its owner's control, if this synchro summon card is in its owner's control is destroyed by an opponent's card, you can special summon 1 Trishula from your extra deck or graveyard. So you don't really need to even go into Trishula anymore because this will be special summoning it. It'll be getting 3,300 attack, and it'll have the attack of any face-up monster your opponent controls, and also negate their effects. So you want to be going for this rather than Trish. I mean, there's gonna be more situations where you can go into Trish, but this is gonna be the more what you want to head for.
Oh, you're in here, huh?
Shh, go away. Sorry about that. That was my dad. Next, moving on, we got 3 Gungnir. Once per turn, you could discard up to 2 cards to the graveyard that target the same number of cards, destroy them. See, this isn't really, I wouldn't really want to run 3 of these, but because I don't really have a choice, that's what you gotta do. Because yeah, they limited Dewlorn and Trish, so yeah, you gotta run 3 of him. Sorry, he's 7 stars. This one, Bryanek, he used to be way better, so I can understand why he's unlimited now because they nerfed his effect heavily. I have the old card it just says once, it doesn't say once per turn, it's just discard any number of cards to the graveyard that target the same, so you could continuously do it in like a loop. So I can understand why they why they nerfed it, but heck, I still loved Bryanak. That's probably why I bought this deck, was just so I could play around with Bryanak. So not the end of the world that Dulorn. Dulorn probably has more like synergistic effects with the rest of the deck, but Bryanak is my favorite, and honestly, his effect isn't that bad because it always was bad. I didn't think it deserved to be on the ban list because he targets. So I don't understand that. I guess because there's a like an infinite loop effect, like I was saying. It's probably why they nerfed him, but I'm glad that he's at 3 in the game now at nerfed. So cool. I will run this deck because his card artwork is amazing, and I like him. I like him. He's a very good six generic synchro monster too. But I remember when 5Ds came out in the synchro deck. Swore that's like what I love playing was the synchro monsters. Very fun, nostalgic times. And yeah, that's my deck. I don't have a side deck. Mainly because, like I said, the utility is so great. Um, uh, Out of 5 stars, I'd rate this one definitely a 3. I wouldn't say this is top tier. Definitely good if you're a control player and like controlling the field. Whereas my last deck, the Familiar Possessed deck, is more of just head on buff, buff, buff. You know what I mean? This is a more of a control style deck. So yep, that's the deck. I'll see you guys later. Have a nice day. Bye bye.